That's right, everybody. It's another live wrestling episode of Tap Outs and Touchdowns. As always, it's your guy, Bully Rye, alongside co-host for the wrestling shows, PJ Steven. PJ, what's going on, man?
Oh, nothing much. It's been a wonderful, wonderful, beautiful Monday. I've had the windows open and the AC off. It's a wonderful day in New Mexico. How's it going down there in the South?
What do you mean windows open and AC off? What are you talking about?
The
I'm
high is like
legitimately asking.
the high is like 87 here. Like when people are like, "You're moving to the desert. It's so hot." I'm like, no, it's really not. It's
It's
pretty.
not. The high is not 87.
Yes, it is. It's 89 right now, so I guess it's
How,
not 87. Yeah,
how
the
about
high
you?
the high was 90 today.
The high was 90. What about humidity? What's the humidity like in New Mexico?
Come on.
I'm legit
There's
asking.
none. There's
It's the
none.
dessert. There's no
Um,
humidity.
humidity was at 15% today. The only time I've sweat since I've moved here is when I had those 104 fevers when I had that infection and like I was sweating them out every like 15 minutes. That's the only time I've sweat here. I don't even sweat at my job.
So legitimately, I think I'm sorry. I'm in the middle of sharing the stream. If anybody wants to come in, facebook.com/tapouts and touchdowns, the YouTube channel or the Twitter page at tapouts and TDs. Yeah, it's apparently like the hottest week in South Carolina this week. I think it's going to be the high, at least in the upstate, is in the mid to high 90s. They're like, so I was you're gonna think this is hilarious. I was invited to go to a Parker McCollum concert. If you don't know who that is, I'm not surprised because you're not a country music fan.
A what?
Um, Parker
Parker
McCollum. Do you know who Parker McCollum is?
Parker McCollum? No, I don't know
Yeah.
who he is.
So he's playing at the Heritage. He's playing at the Heritage Park Amphitheater in Simpsonville this Saturday, and I've been planning on going because listen, when you go to country music concerts in the summertime in the South, as a single dude, so to speak, it's apparently a pretty nice view, as
Apparently.
to what I've been told. But the amphitheater announced last week that there are no blankets to sit on the lawn for the standing room only seats. You are not allowed to bring lawn chairs in, which we have done before in the past. As a matter of fact, I saw a day to remember, and I brought a lawn chair with me. And so those were the two. Like, no, I'm good. And then I was told, guess what the temperature is going to be for the concert Saturday?
102.
100 degrees. I said, nope. I can find a million other things to spend $50 on where I don't sweat through my shirt and just get absolutely, swamp assed, if you will. But anyway, thanks everybody for joining the live stream. We're actually going to talk pro wrestling tonight. Whether you're joining us on YouTube, on Facebook.
No, I was excited to hear Frick's weather report, honestly. That's why
I
was here. That's what I was here for. And here in South Carolina, it's going to be a lot hotter here. 100 degrees. You can't bring the lawn chairs, everybody.
I
don't know when you became a 40s.
Listen, I can't be like that guy. I forgot where he's at. He's the wrestling fan that drops all the wrestling knowledge during his weather reports. But again, if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, make sure you leave comments tonight so you can join the conversation with us. Thank you for joining us as always. And again, if you go to Twitter at Tapouts and TDs, give us a follow, or X, I guess it's called X. Give us a follow. You can watch it on there as well. First comment. Somebody's ahead of the game, man. We haven't even gotten on our first topic, and we're going to get to it. Rumors are circulating fast that we have seen Edge's final match in WWE, and that's why we get into our opening bell. And our first comment by Matt Link, his favorite Edge moment, 2006 cash in at New Year's Revolution.
Matt Lee, good to see you, my friend. Thank you for joining in. We really appreciate it.
So, PJ, I know I told you to watch the match.
Yes, you did.
We briefly talked about it offline. I thought the conversation was better to be had on the show.
Right.
What were your initial thoughts after watching that match? I know that you thought the wrong guy won, but did Edge do himself a service with this match against Sheamus on Friday Night SmackDown?
Yeah, the match was incredible. I was really happy with the match. I think the psychology of it made sense. At first I didn't think the opponent made sense, and now I think it made sense because it was a really good match. It doesn't matter if it makes sense as long as it's a good match. I've said that for years. Good pro wrestling is just good pro wrestling. Love the match, but yeah,
Real quick shout out. Tyler also enjoyed the cash in. I believe it was the first.
You know why it was a good cash in? You know why it was a good cash in?
You cashed in on John Cena
because he cashed in on John Cena, who for some reason won that Elimination Chamber and was bloodied up. And then, oh my! I remember watching that match. I've told the story on the podcast before. Watching that match with everybody, all my friends, and just going like, "Man, this guy just won't lose. He's awful. He's terrible." And then here comes Vince. I was like, "What kind of gaga are we getting here?" And then he has decided to cash in his Money in the Bank, and I was like, "Does he get a match?" And then here comes Edge. Spear 1, 2, 3. Man, I was the only one in that room happy. Oh, I went to bed smiling that night.
Well, to go back to the match, so they very, very quickly put this storyline together.
Yeah.
Which I think was rooted in truth. It was a shoot that it's well documented. Sheamus has his own YouTube channel and his own YouTube show where he's shown working out and doing some different things. And he took Edge on a hike, like on a bike hike. And Edge took a hill the wrong way and bailed off the bike. And that is rumored to be the moment that Edge thought that maybe he can get back in the ring. Sheamus's storyline was that when they did a European tour, and Sheamus was debating whether or not he wanted to get into wrestling. Said a lot of the wrestlers that he talked to sort of gave him the cold shoulder and shrugged him off. And Edge was the only one to really give him time and attention. And so combine that with the fact that like Edge was sort of talked into getting back into the ring after a situation with Sheamus. It sort of makes sense if Sheamus is the last opponent for Edge. I wish we could have gotten a better event than a Friday Night SmackDown. Now, granted, it was in his hometown of Toronto, Ontario. So it was in front of his fellow Canadians. He went on the mic after the match, after the show was over, and definitively said, "This is probably the last time that I'm ever going to wrestle in front of you, because I legitimately don't know if I can do this for another full year before we get to come back." But he thanked the fans because they gave him an experience. There's obviously rumors circulating that he's going to go join Christian Cage in All Elite Wrestling, and you and I both look. Judging by you shaking your head, we can agree that Edge, like The Undertaker, is one of those guys that once given his opportunity in WWE, never wavered. Was a lifetime WWE guy. He was one of the youngest people ever inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Now, again, more rumors circulating that Edge's contract is up in September, which means that he has wrestled his last contractually obligated match for WWE. So question number one.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I've heard September and I've heard December. I've seen both of those things. So I don't know. I refuse to believe one or the other. But to your point, yes, it's ending soon, I'll say. But I've seen so much that I don't know if it's September like you were just talking about or if it's December. I've also seen late October. So I don't know.
Question number one, PJ. Was this match good enough to be Edge's last match?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't have a problem with the match. I have a problem with who won.
So you think, it's relatively, I guess, expected in wrestling circles that when you retire, you go out on your back, a la Ric Flair, a la what Sting may have done had he not gone to AEW after losing to Seth Rollins and almost ending his wrestling career. I mean, God, he's 65 now anyway. So PJ, since you think this is good enough to be his last match, first of all, comment Tyler Roberts back in. Thanks for joining us. Edge confirmed end of September per Fightful. So take that for what it's worth as well. Where do you rank this match in regards to matches that Edge has had since returning from his neck injury?
Oh, probably his best, because I've been on record to say that Edge's matches since coming back have not been that great. His match with Randy Orton was horrible. His match with Balor was pretty cool. The best part about that match with Balor was him coming out to South of Heaven by Slayer. Still so fun. We compared his return a lot to CM Punk's return and how they were both so lackluster. And I believe Edge's was very much lackluster, as was Punk's, and anything Punk does is lackluster. But we'll get to that next subject here in a second.
Yeah.
But Edge,
I can't wait.
this is to me, unless I'm missing something, I mean, I'll have to go back and really look, but I think this is Edge's best match since his return, and I think it's not even close. I still think the wrong person won.
Do you think, first of all, another comment here, when I mentioned Sting, Matthew Leak once again agreed that they did Sting dirty in WWE. Not going to disagree there.
I agree. There was, I saw an article the other day that Tony Khan was saying that Sting is having his best years in AEW. I disagree with that. I think Sting's best years were, when WCW was really peaking, like that 96, end of 95 kind of era. And then even, towards like 97, 98, he was doing really well. WCW was not, but, we get to that later. But I think that this run in AEW is far better than his run in WWE. And I don't know how you can disagree because he's not injured in AEW.
So I first of all completely agree. Let's get back to Edge for a second here because we got a good bit to talk about with AEW in our next segment. Edge, we saw Edge in a couple of different situations here in his return. We saw him create and then get booted out of the Judgment Day. We saw him come out to Brood Edge, where he sort of started off with the Brood music before coming out to his regular theme. Do you think WWE missed the boat by not bringing Gangrel and possibly Christian as a one-off to sort of combat the Judgment Day when he first was feuding with them?
No, I don't think that matters.
Okay, so would you have popped if you saw Gangrel and Christian come out in like the blouses with Edge for one of those pay-per-views where he was wrestling like Finn Balor or
sure, I would have popped. I would have popped for the wrong reason. I would have popped for, oh wow, a contracted AEW wrestlers on a WWE pay-per-view. That's insane.
Yeah. Okay. So
by the way, I will say that Edge and Daniel Bryan had an amazing match with Roman Reigns. What was that? Was that Mania?
Yeah, it was WrestleMania. That was WrestleMania before Bryan left to go.
Yeah,
to
that was a really, really good match, and I do remember liking that match. I don't think they missed the boat on it because I'm not, me, I'm not big on guys coming back for a day to do something and then leaving. I mean the same thing with everyone popped for Savio Vega, and I was like, yeah, that's really cool and all, but I don't pop for that. I'm not big into that one-offs. I'm really not gonna care about the whole rumor about Rikishi's coming back to special referee a match with his sons. I don't give, unless he's gonna stink face both of them and send them to their room. I don't give a. Well, I mean, I don't care.
That's great. That's great. Listen,
I don't care. Maybe that's why I don't care about The Rock coming back and facing Roman Reigns. I don't care about one-offs.
I popped for Savio Vega. I popped for Carlito. That Puerto Rico pay-per-view or premium live event was fantastic. But nevertheless, PJ, if this is Edge's match, we've already had a couple comments in the show already tonight about your favorite moment from Edge. Give us some of your thoughts on Edge's career, maybe some of your favorite moments on the Rated R Superstar.
Well, Mr. Matt League totally took one of my top three. That cash in, not only was it the first one, but he wins the first Money in the Bank at Mania. Was it Mania 21? I think, yeah, because 21. And then cashes in. He just did the first cash in. The spear to Jeff Hardy in the TLC match. You know which one I'm talking about. Amazing stuff. His
the live sex show,
his sex celebration with Lita. No, that was cringe, man. Like, so funny. Like, anyway,
if I was 16, that would have been fantastic.
Oh my God. I remember watching it. I remember going like, what are we, even being a kid and seeing like borderline live porn on Monday Night Raw, I was still like, what are we doing?
Yeah, what is this?
I know the first time you start, I loved that. I loved Rated RKO. Thought that was great. Great tag team. Another moment I'll say is his rivalry with The Undertaker. What was that? WrestleMania 24?
I get so mixed up with the numbers.
I think it was 24. Yeah, really. I mean, Edge has always stood the test of time as a fantastic worker, great promo. Who can forget his comedic things with Kurt Angle? I mean, it was Edge who shaved Kurt Angle's head, and it was Edge who started the "You Suck" chants, the thing that we love.
The Edge and Christian with the kazoo. You think you know me. You think you know me.
Oh yeah, and then the 5-second poses.
Oh yeah, the 5-second poses. Yeah, it was great. It was fantastic.
And I loved.
We almost synced that up, by the way. That was great.
No, we did. We did.
Yeah.
I loved his rivalry with Christian during the Invasion era, where Christian went over to the Alliance and he was jealous of Edge winning the King of the Ring. I remember there was a big segment with Christian went up to Edge and was like, "Mom got into an accident. We gotta go. We gotta go. Mom's in an accident." And then he attacks him. It's like, geez, man. And Edge and Christian had a match at either Unforgiven 2001 or it might have been the Invasion pay-per-view. They had a fantastic match. And that was when you had the Christian, like the little stupid pyro. Yeah. Edge has always, to me, been a top-tier player and an amazing wrestler, and can tell a great story in the ring.
Reminder, if you're in the chat via, or if you're watching live via Facebook or YouTube, leave a comment in the chat, in the comments below. We'll read it on the air. Let us know your favorite Edge moments or what your thoughts are on AEW All-In, because we're going to be talking about that coming up next. Listen, I'm with you.
You know what? I forgot I have something that is Edge, not memorabilia, but it's something from my childhood that is Edge related. Rap for a second. I'll be right back. I know right where it is.
Oh, he's going to make... Well, listen, while he's looking for that and literally walking off the set, I'll give you some of my favorite Edge moments. We talked about the 5-second photography. A lot of the stuff that he did with Mick Foley was fantastic. Obviously, one of the most infamous angles that he had was with Lita, but was with Matt Hardy, as Matt Hardy and Lita split up, and Matt Hardy would leave the company, and they would sort of come back and feud over the fact that Edge took Matt Hardy from Edge took Lita from Matt Hardy. Banker Bill in the chat coming in to say he has 0 Edge favorite moments. Listen, Bill, I can't wait, because tomorrow we're not going to record live, but tomorrow Banker Bill and PJ Steven and I are going to be recording a special crossover episode, and we're gonna try to sort of I don't know, educate Bill on the I guess the number of former professional and college athletes who decided to make the transition over into professional wrestling. We've got a couple guys that we're going to feature, and then we're actually going to live watch a match with Banker Bill on the show. It's not going to be the greatest match in the world, but it's going to be...
I forgot we're going to do that. Oh, yeah. I can't wait. I love that match, man. It's a spot fest, but it's such a fun match.
It will be going on the YouTube channel as long as nobody pulls it down, but we're not going to go live, and I'm not sure when we're going to post it, but it will be going live with the three of us in the crossover episode, so we cannot wait. We got Tyler get back in the comments before you get there, PJ. Bill, this ain't a show for you then, talking about Edge, and we get a nice little LOL from Bill.
It's really a time to connect, not the things that all three of us love, because I don't know anything about football. I couldn't call a pass interference if I tried. With a gun to my head, if they were like, was that offsides? I'd go, just pull the trigger.
That's a sweet home run from Tom Brady to Chris Godwin.
Exactly.
What a home run that was,
And he's the same way with pro wrestling. So I think this is a time to not only educate both of us, but to just connect our favorite things.
Yeah,
love
real
the
quick
Mick Foley moments. Yeah, that hardcore match. God, Matt Lee coming in clutch for that
WrestleMania 22 Extreme Rules match. Yep.
Through the no, it was not Extreme Rules. It was hardcore.
Sorry.
Hardcore. But no, that spear through the fire, man. You can't. God. And Lita's got color here from the mandible claw with the barbed wire wrapped around it. It's amazing. So
PJ, you went off the set to go grab something. What did you come back with?
I want to show this off because I got this when I was a kid and I broke the chain to it, but I always kept the pendant. This was the Edge Army Edge head necklace from back in the day of WWF Shop Zone. And it even says made in Canada, which is really funny. I don't know if that's, just whatever, but it says Edge Army. If you could read that.
Yeah, that's sweet, dude. Look at the old WWF logo on there and everything. That's awesome.
I mean, the old
Attitude Era. WWE.
WWE Shop Zone, and I always kept this. And I found it the other day when I was going through some pins, and I said, I'll bring this on the show. But I can't believe I still have this. I still love it. I'm mad that I broke the chain to it. You can tell it's cheap. Like, you could tell if I were to bend it too much, it would break. But I had this, and I had the Hardy Boys one that was like the balls, and they were like a choker,
It
and I
had
had the
the
pendant right here, the little
yeah.
heart H. It was stolen from me back in the day, but this I kept. So anyway, I
I
just wanted to show that off.
I think
Show
one of
and
my
tell.
favorite one of my last action figures I ever got as a kid was Edge. Back when they had like the Titantron, and you get the action figures like the metal foots, the metal feet, and
Yep,
you put on the Titantron and their music would play.
yep.
It was like the bell would ring and the music would play. A lot of fun stuff to talk about as kids. PJ, we're running. We got a lot to get to, so we're gonna have to move on from Edge. It's if Edge's last final match took place this past Friday, what a great career he had. And he definitely, even though he didn't go out on his sword in the way that you would have liked him to, he definitely put on the show that we knew he could put on, that he used to put on when he was younger, and he definitely left it all out there to entertain us and to entertain his home fans of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. PJ, we're going to move on, and we're going to start talking AEW All-In. But before we do that, we're going to talk about our first show sponsor, and that's Carolina Business Equipment. With offices in Charleston, Greenville, Columbia, and Florence, Carolina Business Equipment can supply your copiers, computers, and printers anywhere in the state of South Carolina. Call my best friend Aaron Thompson at 843-452-8761 for a quote today, and make sure you tell him that Ryan from Tap House and Touchdown sent you. Carolina Business Equipment, you worry about your business, let us handle your technology. PJ, we are less than 1 week away from the 2023 AEW pay-per-view, because it's not a premium live event. AEW pay-per-view All-In 2023. We are literally, if this goes out, we're recording this Monday, so 6 days away. Or do they do theirs on Sunday?
This is going to be on Saturday, I believe.
Okay, so it's a Saturday pay-per-view
I could
from
be wrong.
AEW out of Wembley Stadium in London, England. They have reported 80,846 tickets as of August 18th, overtaking.
Oh, it is a Sunday. I'm sorry, Ryan. It is.
So
Sunday.
we are 6 days away from AEW All-In. Right. There have been a number of matches that have been announced for the event. A lot of matches have been announced the last couple of weeks. And to start off with, before we get that, it's Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is great because we talked about on this show many times, the AEW pay-per-views last like 6 hours. So I'm glad we're getting a 1 p.m. Eastern Time. You get to wake up and eat breakfast watching AEW All-In.
I do. I do. I would have to stay up very, very late for this. And you know what? I only do it for New Japan. So,
well, the first match has been announced as the pre-show match for
let me interrupt you just for a second, but because before any match was announced, this thing had almost sold out.
Yeah.
And I want to throw that in because, you know, before we get into it, there's a lot of people. I say people. Well, these aren't really people. Wrestling fans aren't people.
Marks.
But there's a lot of fans who call themselves fans that really want this to fail.
Yeah.
And that makes absolutely no sense to me. And, you know, I saw this quote the other day. I can't take credit for it as much as I want to. It came from my friend Billy Metz, who used to play bass for John Wilkes Telephone Booth. Used to run a really awesome record store called Cat's Music. Me and him would talk wrestling all the time. But I really stood by this, and I've been quoting it for the past couple of days. The success of AEW is a win for wrestling as a whole. It ain't perfect, but nobody has ever been. In previous eras, there was a lot to roll your eyes at as well, especially the beloved Attitude Era. But wrestling is healthy, and the winner is the fans. But all some fans can do is want this to fail, and it makes no. And even when you mention how much they sold, they're just like, well, that's just how many they distributed. Who cares?
Yep.
It's a win for the fans. Like, we get to watch this pro wrestling. It's where we can see it no matter what. We can go to watch wrestling and watch it for free. You can pay for it. You can get it on demand at some places. And all we can do is just complain. And it's insane to me. It's insane the amount of, and I said this the other day. If we were like this, if we were like those people like in the Monday Night Wars, complaining like this and little piss matches about ratings, I would go back in time and kick myself right in the balls.
Yeah.
Like I would. I'd be like, what are you acting like this for? Like, there's so much content. Like, But I really don't. I mean, I don't know. I'd like to go back in time and see if it was that bad, but I think the internet changed everything.
Oh, the
But
internet, social media changed everything. Real quick,
yeah.
Banker Bill coming in as a wrestler, as a non-wrestling fan, he doesn't want it to fail. I mean,
Thank you, Bill.
there's been people that have come out and said that the sales for an AEW show, if they really sold 80,000 tickets, it just shows how eager the British are for a live wrestling show. That may be the case, but who cares? They're going to come out. If they're going to come out in droves to watch AEW,
I even saw people
so
that
be it.
I even saw people that were like, yeah, but are they really gonna go just because they bought the ticket? And I'm like, what are you out of your mind? Who buys tickets? It's like, I don't think I'll go.
As expensive as live events are today, who's gonna buy a ticket just to? Oh, I had a ticket. I decided not to go.
I decided not to go.
Yeah, there's 80,000 tickets have been sold. So that's about a Carolina football game with tickets are sold out. I'm not sure. Probably less than a Florida game, but nevertheless. Real quick before
you know what I wanted to comment on real quick. Just we'll get into the matches. I know. I'm sorry. When you and Bill were on live the other night, guys, frickin' Bill, they do their live show every week, and it's so fun to watch. I love it. I learned a little bit about football as well. I highly recommend you guys tune in if you like the foosball. I wanted to comment, but I was too drunk to spell his name. I wanted to comment that I haven't seen a.
I can't even get it out.
I haven't seen a full football game since Jake Delhomme was quarterback for the Panthers.
Oh, Jake Delhomme.
Delhomme. See?
Yeah.
But I was so drunk I couldn't spell Delhomme, and I was like, D-E-L home. That's not it.
That's not it.
I'll tell him on Monday.
That's hilarious.
Bill, I haven't seen a full football game since.
I don't know. I wouldn't want to sit in the upper deck, but some people don't care. They just want to be there for the event. I'm telling you, when I try to get you to come to AEW with me locally, I got really good tickets for $20, and being there for the live crowd, hearing the live crowd play off the action is different than watching on TV.
Well,
real quick,
and you've got that giant screen. I mean, like, when Joe and I saw Forbidden Door in Chicago, like, we didn't have the best seats. We could see everything all right. They didn't look like ants, but that giant screen, man, you're like, yeah, I'm good.
Yep.
Anyway, go ahead. You're trying to say something.
No. Real quick before we get into the match card, because we got a lot to talk about with SummerSlam '97 and the curtain call of the show. We did have one question. Gavin Massey wants your thoughts on Naito winning the G1. Thank God it wasn't Okada Cena.
Okada Cena. I like that. Yeah, I'm really happy it was Tetsuya Naito, mostly because I called it from the beginning. He still has leftover business with Sonata leaving ILJ. What did I just say?
LIJ.
No, I was right. ILJ. Excuse me, Jesus. But I love that it was Naito. As much as I wanted somebody who has never won it before to win it, like Will Ospreay, we mentioned her. I mean,
Jeff Cobb.
Jeff Cobb. God forbid, Evil. David Finlay. I could have seen him winning it. But Naito, even when he won, Double Gold Rush, he was interrupted by Kenta and hasn't gotten that Wrestle Kingdom Tokyo Dome moment. So maybe that's this time. As far as Okada winning, you got to remember Okada wasn't even supposed to win last year. Ibushi was supposed to get his three-peat. However, he was injured. That happens. Okada, however, if he won too, I don't mind Okada winning a whole hell of a lot because he's so good. And I get that, but I get people tired of seeing him too. I'm not disregarding that. That being said, my friend, whoever it is who challenges Sonata at Wrestle Kingdom, you're still going to see Sonata walk out of Wrestle Kingdom with that champion. And Evil's just keeping it warm right now. He's not your champion. Sonata's going to take that back coming up here soon at Road to Destruction.
Well, we've got some New Japan contracted guys on the AEW All-In show, as the pre-show will feature a tag team match for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. Aussie Open taking on Adam Cole and MJF. PJ, is this the moment we see Adam Cole finally turn on MJF since they have a match for the title in the main event of the show?
I don't think so. And I wanted to touch on that. I've loved this little back and forth between
it's fantastic.
Adam Cole and MJF. It's fun.
It's reminiscent of Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens a few years ago, honestly. That's what it makes me feel like.
Don't say that too hard because people will say like, well, they're just copying WWE. But no, I totally agree. I love it. I don't think they're going to betray each other. I think it's going to be one of those things where it's like, I could have gotcha, and then they shake hands and we'll get the thing. Now, I think in the middle of the match, the main event match, MJF will go total heel on Adam Cole. But honestly, I would love to see my boys Aussie Open win that, man. Such a fan of Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher. Saw them win the very first ever New Japan Strong Tag Team Champions in Charlotte, beating in the tournament. I love it. Love Aussie Open. I think they should win.
I think I'd like to see Adam Cole and MJF take the titles so that they can continue this friendship storyline, continue this tag team storyline. I'd like to see them sort of continue to stay friends after this, and maybe MJF wins the title or retains the title at the end of the show. They continue to be friends. They hug it out at the end. They go and defend the tag titles, and eventually they lose the tag titles. That's when Cole, turns on MJF. I think this has some legs to it. I'm not ready for it to see it end just yet. Next up, these are all just the matches that have been announced. Another tag team match, this time for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. FTR defending against the Young Bucks, and this is the rubber match between these two teams. PJ, who do you think gets the win here?
FTR.
Yeah, listen.
I think FTR.
With the news that sort of tried to break last week regarding Dash's arrest, I think the preliminary thoughts are that the Young Bucks could end up winning this and taking the titles back because we don't know what's going to happen legally. But I think FTR takes this back, and I think it's going to be something crazy is going to happen for them to lose the titles. And that'll be, neither here nor there. The AEW Women's Championship is on the line as two-time champion Hikaru Shida defends against Toni Storm, Saraya, and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. PJ, I don't see a way that Shida leaves with the title. I wouldn't be surprised considering All-In was the first event sort of for this company. Britt Baker, I don't think she's been champion since they changed the actual title belt. I could be wrong. I think this is where, especially since she's a babyface, I think we get a Dr. Britt Baker win here over someone like a Saraya so that Hikaru Shida doesn't have to be pinned. What say you for this AEW Women's Championship here?
I really hope she retains. I think she's an amazing wrestler. All four of these women are super talented. Honestly, it's either going to be she's going to either retain or it's going to be Saraya, I'm thinking. I think they're going to save Dr. Britt Baker for a bigger babyface moment where it's a one-on-one.
You think that could be against, like, Saraya wins the title and then Britt Baker wins it from Saraya somewhere down the line?
Sure.
I don't see Saraya ever being a champion in AEW. I don't think
she doesn't need the belt.
No. I also think that just the fact that she was cleared doesn't mean that she can take on a full workload. So I don't see her wrestling. Obviously, she hasn't wrestled as often. She's been more of a mouthpiece than she has been an actual, active competitor. So I think putting the title on her sort of puts a target on her back. I don't think they'll do it.
I will say that AEW, they defend their belt, except for MJF. I guess he hasn't defended his in a while, but the other belts, they defend them pretty regularly. So I see your point, but
yeah,
if we've seen anything from you don't have to defend it every single month. How many wrestlers have we seen go 30 days without defending it, where it should be vacated according to the rules, and then they just don't?
Roman Reigns.
Did you sneeze? Are you okay?
Yeah, that was it. So next matchup on the card, since we're gonna move on because we got a lot to talk about the SummerSlam '97 in the curtain call. A match that I only got interested in after Sting re-debuted a very, very, I'm not sure, reserved form of Joker Sting, as Darby Allin and Sting will take on the Mogul Embassy. If I'm not mistaken, this is going to be a tag team coffin match. The last time I remember seeing a tag team going to coffin together was King Mabel and I can't think of his sidekick's name, of course, all of a sudden. In that big casket match with the Undertaker back, I believe, back in like 95, 96. Are you excited about this match? I know you're a Darby Allin mark, as I'm not, but Mogul Embassy being the team of AR Fox and Swerve Strickland. For those, I'm
a fan of all four of these guys, and honestly, I'd love to see AR Fox and Swerve Strickland get some shine and beat them. I'd like to see Darby make a mistake and try to do a coffin drop into the coffin on them. They move, he lands in the coffin, they throw Sting on top of him and shut the lid, something like that. Either one of these teams could win, and I'd be happy. I'm sure it's going to be a fun match.
Well, next up, the next announced match, the Golden Elite team of Kota Ibushi, Kenny Omega, and Hangman Adam Page taking on the team of Takeshita. I'm not going to try to pronounce his first name.
You got it.
And Bullet Club Gold featuring Juice Robinson and Jay White, rocking the Bullet Club Gold shirt tonight.
There you go.
PJ,
I'm rocking the Sting shirt. I forgot.
Yeah. Come on now. PJ, you feel like they sort of threw this match together. Like, I feel like this could have been a bigger event where you get like the actual Elite versus the Bullet Club Gold somewhere down the line, like in a what's that match what they call War Games in Blood and Guts or whatever it's called.
Blood and Guts, whatever. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you could do a Bullet Club Gold with the gun, the ass boys, with Juice Robinson and Jay White alongside a.
Did the ass boys join Bullet Club? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean they've been rocking with them. They rolled out in Greenville with like the black and gold pants, like they're doing the gun salutes. Cool. So you could do the Golden Elite with Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Kota Ibushi, and Hangman Adam Page. You can do that 5v5. Anyway, what are you looking forward to most in this 6-man tag team match?
I'm looking forward to Jay White and Kota Ibushi back in a ring together. I love the team of Jay White and Juice Robinson. I think they're doing a really, really great job. At first, I was so upset when Jay White didn't get pushed right into the main event spot because he was just such a terrific worker in New Japan. But I think he's having a lot more fun here with Juice Robinson, kind of taking a step back from the main event. And I cannot wait to see Jay White and Kota Ibushi in a match again. I mean, some of the best matches of Wrestle Kingdom history have been those two. And as much as I hate to see Kota Ibushi in AEW, if I'm being honest, I'd rather see him back in New Japan. This is going to be really fun, and I'm looking forward to it, if I'm being honest.
Well, a match that I'm not looking forward to is the next Stadium Stampede match. I don't know how they're going to do it in Wembley Stadium. The teams feature Eddie Kingston, Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, Trent Beretta, and the Lucha Brothers. So the best friends, Penta El Cero Miedo, Rey Fenix, Orange Cassidy, and Eddie Kingston taking on the Blackpool Combat Club, Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, and 3 people to be announced. I don't care about this match. I don't know how they're going to do it. Should we just move on? Yep. The next match that was sort of announced last week on Dynamite was a match between Chris Jericho and Will Ospreay. Listen, Jericho has sort of given the rub to a lot of the big stars in New Japan. He gave the rub to, was it Naito? He had the match with Kenny Omega. Now he's getting a match with Will Ospreay.
He had the match with Okada.
He had a match with Okada as well. Listen, obviously storyline, they've got Jericho who decided to join the Don Callis family, who has a scar on his forehead that is never going to go away. And that turned south, and Will Ospreay attacked Chris Jericho. And so now we get Jericho and Ospreay at All-In. I don't see Ospreay losing this match, especially after he beat Kenny Omega at Wrestle Kingdom this year.
He just defeated Okada in the G1 as well. Yeah, I mean, what I'll say about this match, it's going to be a great match. And to the people who are saying that Chris Jericho is not going to be able to hang with Will Ospreay, I think you're insane. He had a fantastic match in 2017 with Kenny Omega. He had a fantastic match at Wrestle Kingdom 13 with Tetsuya Naito. He had a fantastic match with Kazuchika Okada at Dominion. And then at Wrestle Kingdom 14, him and Hiroshi Tanahashi had a fantastic match. I don't get just because Chris Jericho is not in the shape he was in his WWE days that he's going to put on a bad match. There are plenty of guys who who aren't in that quote unquote that ring shape that you speak of. And even and we're going to talk about the next match too, but even the people who are upset, that GTS that CM Punk gave Samoa Joe didn't look that great. I'm sorry. Can you pick up Samoa Joe?
I mean, I couldn't, but a guy like Powerhouse Hobbs or
are guys like Powerhouse Hobbs on the internet talking on wrestling forums and on comments? I don't think they are.
that's fair. Yeah.
My point is, the people who complain that Jericho won't be able to hang with Ospreay, or that this wrestler can't do this, are the same ones that could not probably hit the ropes for a good 5 minutes, much less 2.
Well,
I think that Jericho and Ospreay are going to surprise people. Ospreay can get a match out of a broomstick, and I think Jericho can do the same. I think it's going to be a great match. I do see Will Ospreay winning.
I'm right there with you. I think they're going to tear the house down. I think this is going to be one of those matches that you need to watch out for. A match that I could care less about. CM Punk, Samoa Joe. You just talked about it. CM Punk had a hard time.
I'm actually mad that I defended CM Punk there, but it makes sense. I mean, like, dude, you can't get me. Samoa Joe's a big boy. He's a big boy. I mean,
it's one of the worst GTSs we've seen, like, ever. Like, Joe did a great job of trying to sell it because that's the kind of guy Joe is. But I'm sorry, this is for the quote-unquote real world championship, which is a dumb concept in and of itself. I couldn't care less about this match, PJ. What say you?
I don't really care. I want Samoa Joe to squash him. That'd be amazing.
That'd be fantastic. It's not going to happen, but that would be great. The final match listed, the main event of the AEW All-In from Wembley Stadium, MJF defending the AEW Championship against Adam Cole. PJ, who you got winning this match? We've talked a lot about this already. Who do you think you got MJF retaining here, or does Adam Cole win the title?
MJF retains.
I'm with you.
I think he's going to carry it for a while. I'd be fine if Adam Cole won, but I think MJF's going to take it.
Yeah, listen, a lot of matches listed for AEW All-In for this year's 2023 Spectacular. 1 p.m. Eastern Time from Wembley Stadium, and I believe it's London, England. I want to make sure that I don't get this wrong. London, England.
Yeah,
Wembley Stadium in London, England. So again, PJ said there's plenty of places to catch it. If you got nothing else going on a Sunday afternoon, we are not in NFL season as of yet. So some
even
stuff to watch.
Even if you were, who cares?
We get a final comment before we take our final break. Tyler Roberts comes back in the chat. MJF retains and defeats Punk in Chicago the following week at All Out. Do you find it weird they're going straight from All In to All Out within a matter of a week?
I don't find that weird. Not at all. I think it's fine. I mean, I don't think it lined up exactly where they wanted it to line up, but I think it's fine. I think that's the least of their worries.
I would love to see again, it's been very well documented. I would be absolutely fine if CM Punk was never on my TV again. So
correct.
Let's hope that Tyler's right about that. We got a lot to get into and not a lot of time. So let's go ahead and take our final break and get into the curtain call of the show. We're getting back in your time machine. But before we get back in the time machine, we're going to talk about our last sponsor and One Stop Repairs. Established in 2008, One Stop Repairs in North Charleston, South Carolina, is your one-stop shop for all your electronic repair needs. Specializing in cell phones, tablets, computers, laptops, and game consoles, One Stop Repairs offers reputable and quality service with the quickest turnaround time and the most competitive prices in the Low Country. You can find them on Google with an exceptional 4.9 star rating or on Facebook by searching for One Stop Repairs. Call Zach for a quote today, 843-343-6310. That's the number One Stop Repairs. PJ, we are part 5 of your WWF 1997 Time Machine. And this is probably one of the ones that I'm most excited about. The very first pay-per-view my mom ever purchased for me to watch live, WWF SummerSlam 1997. Let's get into the match card. We start off the show with a banger, a steel cage match. Mankind, Mick Foley, in the middle of his identity crisis, taking on Hunter Hearst Helmsley, this year's King of the Ring. Mankind would go over. He was already out of the ring, comes back in, takes off his mask as Mankind hits an elbow drop off the top of the cage. He would eventually, after he hit the elbow drop, climb back out, hit the ground. They would play his winning music as Mankind. The music would come off. the Dude Love music would kick, and you'd see his foot just tapping on the ground as the Dude Love music kicked him back up, and he sort of rolled out of Jersey with his Dude Love persona and his Mankind attire. PJ, how'd you feel about this match? I thought it was fantastic.
Well, we're skipping a lot here because not only was it was it Mankind defeating Hunter Hearst Helmsley, but Mankind got to live out his dream. One of the first stories that I ever heard about Mankind was him hitchhiking his way to see Don Morocco take on Jimmy Snuka in the cage match. That the famous cage match was Jimmy Superfly Snuka getting up on the cage and doing the Superfly off. That's all Mick wanted to do with his life, and that's why on those we talked a lot about the Mankind's interviews with JR, and it shows Mick Foley jumping off his house onto a mattress with the Superfly thing. So it's an amazing moment when he tears his shirt and he does the thing, and the crowd is chanting Superfly, Superfly, and he hits that drop. Man, how amazing. I also want to mention there's a spot in that match where Chyna slams that cage door right in Mick's head, and it's like, good God, woman. Oh, my God.
It's one of those spots that the network doesn't blur out like they do with all the head chair shots.
It's an amazing, it's a great match. What a great match to start off with. We went 16 minutes, 26 seconds here. It's such a tremendous pay-per-view, but this match is pretty sweet.
Do you miss the old school steel cage?
I do. Absolutely do. I do.
I'm with you.
I do.
Next up, if Goldust beats Brian Pillman has to wear a dress to wrestle in going forward. And it happens with the help of Marlena on the outside. Goldust defeats Brian Pillman 7 minutes and 17 seconds. Listen, Brian Pillman was in great shape here.
Yes, he was.
Fantastic. How'd you feel about the match? I mean, we get storyline here where it's, they've been sort of rivaling. We get some stuff on commentary where Jerry the King Lawler's like, I bet Old Dust is real proud of this moron kid or whatever the case was.
Yeah, we get a lot of gaga commentary here. Guys, if you guys want to hear the go home edition of this show, part 4 is in our archives where we talked about this. We're getting right into 97 or right into the SummerSlam though, because that's what we've been promising you.
Yeah.
But this storyline had been going on for a little bit with Brian Pillman kind of going after Marlena and such. And yeah, that's the big thing here. Pillman loses. He has to wear a dress, and he does lose in 7 minutes and 17 seconds. It's a fun match. It's quick. It's to the point. I did enjoy it. Yeah.
I'll tell you a match that I wasn't too big of a fan of. That was the next match, the tag team match.
Yeah.
The Legion of Doom, Hawk and Animal, the Road Warriors, taking on the Godwins, Henry O and Phineas E. Godwin, or Phineas I. Godwin. 9 minutes, 15 seconds. Just a bunch of big guys. It started off real awkward as Animal whipped Phineas to the ropes, and Phineas almost like tripped and didn't hit the ropes at all. 4 really big guys. They had hit the Legion of Dooms, the Doomsday device, where Henry O. Godwin fell onto his head and neck, and so there's some pent up aggression and anger and sort of this. He tried to end his career with this match, but the Godwins still won't go over here. Legion of Doom takes it. Thoughts? LOD versus the Godwins.
4 big bastards trying to put on a little bit of a match, and ended in 9 minutes. Let's go.
All right. Next up, the European title is on the line, but if Ken Shamrock or if the British Bulldog loses, he would have to eat a can of dog food. British Bulldog defending against Ken Shamrock.
We're really doing some
gimmicky matches here.
There's 3 matches in this pay-per-view that have consequences, and it's not a title. It's if if Pillman
has to wear a dress.
If Bulldog loses, he has to eat a can of dog food. We got another one coming up here later. That's just insane.
Yeah.
And I mean, what are we thinking? Why can't we just let the matches be matches? But this match is really good.
Yeah,
it was really good. Ken Shamrock in 97 was really good stuff. And even his stuff in 98 with the Lions Den and him being with the corporation, his rivalry with The Rock that we'll see later on. I loved Shamrock in WWF. I really did. And it was a short time, and it didn't overstay its welcome because it could have,
Yep. Yeah, Shamrock snaps in this match. Basically just continues to beat up the Bulldog before they disqualify him. Then he sort of chokes out Bulldog after the match as he walks to the back. Really, really fun stuff here for the fear of saying fun too much, especially because this next match wasn't all that fun. We talked about the breakup of the domination where Savio Vega was fired and created Los Boricuas, and Crush was fired, and he established the Disciples of Apocalypse. So we get these two teams fighting, and then we see a Nation of Domination appearance in the crowd during this match, and this goes all haywire. Real quick, did you know Chains from DOA was fake Taker from SummerSlam 80? Was SummerSlam 94, 95, whatever it was?
Yeah, it's Brian Lee.
Yeah, what
he was in ECW too.
Yep. Good stuff here. Not good stuff there as far as like some factual stuff, but this match was not good stuff here. No. I don't think. I know we're gonna talk about a little bit more about them because the Los Boricuas are gonna go further into.
Real quick, do you remember what he was? Do you remember what team that he was in TNA? Brian Lee.
I saw this earlier today when I did my research. Give it to me.
You remember the Disciples of the New Church? That's real life. That's real life.
I wish
he formed a tag team with Slash, the guy Slash, and he and I forgot what his other name or Wolfie D. That was
Wolfie D.
Yeah, that Wolfie D.
So
whoa,
I don't want to crap all over Los Boricuas because Edge would make his debut against Jesus from Los Boricuas and mistakenly, accidentally drop Jesus on his head in his first televised match. Was there anybody outside of Savio Vega that was talented in Los Boricuas?
I was gonna actually give you a little test and be like, hey, what's the other members of Los Boricuas besides Savio Vega? And then
the guy with the hairy back and chest. Was that Jesus?
Not Albert. That was Jesus.
So Jesus was I thought it was Miguel, not Cabrera. That's a baseball player.
Miguel Perez.
It wasn't Miguel Perez. Wasn't the hairy one?
No, he wasn't the hairy one, but he was the one. He wrestled in All Japan and New Japan. He was a really good wrestler, and he was in ECW and WCW for a little bit.
Well, he wasn't good in WWF at this point. This match was hot garbage and sort of filler because the next match was supposed to be one of the matches of the night, the penultimate match on the card. The Intercontinental Championship is on the line as Owen Hart, the man that pinned Stone Cold Steve Austin at Canadian Stampede?
Canadian Stampede, yep.
If he beat Stone Cold Steve Austin, Stone Cold said that he would pull his pants down and kiss his ass.
So if he would have lost, would he have been the first member of the Kiss My Ass Club? It's not Vince McMahon, but it's still the Kiss My Ass Club.
That would be right. He'd be the first fan.
Who was the first member of Vince McMahon's Kiss
I believe it was William Regal.
Was it Regal?
Real quick,
yeah.
Mama Fricka in the house. Hey, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah, William Regal was the first member of the Kiss My Ass Club. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Oh, we should mention somewhere on the show they have this $1 million giveaway where Sonny is rubbing the bald head of this dude that shaved his head to look like Stone Cold Steve Austin. Sable is running her fingers through the hair of this kid. They make a couple of phone calls to let callers call in with the keys. I had entered the sweepstakes in with my mom, and it's part of the reason why we wanted to watch this pay-per-view together. Which makes it great that Mom is actually here.
I was about to say, what does your mom remember this? And she was just like, "What the hell am I watching?"
Mom, so since you're watching, this was the first paper you ever ordered. We watched it in your back bedroom at the house on Ashley Hall Road, and we watched it because we were hoping they were going to call us. Because if you picked the right key, you won $1 million. And we both agreed that if we got the phone call, we were going to pick key number 3. The kid picked key number 52. The other guy, the bald guy, picked key 13. And after it was all said and done, nobody won the $1 million. It was the most anticlimactic giveaway in WWE history. And sure enough, the guy who announced the winning key was key number 3. We were this close to generational wealth.
You guys would have won that $1 million, and your mother would have been like, "It wasn't worth it."
No, absolutely no. My mom would have been like, "Guess who's going to college on me?" Like it would have solved everything, and $1 million would have been fantastic. But yeah, so anyway, fast forward, we get to the match: Stone Cold Steve Austin, Owen Hart. This match was great until it wasn't.
Yeah,
this was if you're unfamiliar with this match, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Owen Hart. This was the infamous match where Stone Cold broke his neck. Owen Hart picks him up for the Tombstone Pile Driver. Doesn't go down knees first. Doesn't have Stone Cold positioned well. There was a lot of talking in this match, though. There was a lot of you could see where Owen was trying to talk to Stone Cold, and you could actually see Owen Hart say what. And as Stone Cold's hands was over his mouth, you could hear Stone Cold yelling direction at Owen Hart for Owen to scoot over to the ropes, to get his foot on the ropes, to get more leverage in the submission. But Owen Hart dropped Stone Cold on his head.
I want to talk a little bit about that because I did a lot of research on it prior when I was watching the 97 stuff to do the series. And I want to talk a little bit. In his audiobook autobiography, Austin revealed that he and Hart were planning on the spots of the match when Austin, who was booked to win the match in the title, suggested to Hart about performing a pile driver as a false finish, under the condition that it was the knee drop tombstone variant used by The Undertaker, as opposed to the more common variant of landing on his butt. Hart said he was more comfortable performing the latter variant, but assured Austin that he would not hurt him. Coming off a critically acclaimed feud with Hart's brother, Bret Hart, who gained reputation for not reputation for not injuring opponents, Austin obliged. Let's talk there for a second. Owen Hart, Austin says, I'm not comfortable with this. Owen says, well, I am. And Austin says, fine. You think if they would have done it Austin's way, Austin wouldn't have been injured?
I mean,
come on.
It's hard to say.
It is hard to say.
Either way, he wasn't set up right. Even if he had gone down knees first, his head was super low.
I agree.
But go back and watch it.
No argument. I'm just saying yes or no. Do you think that if they would have done what Austin wanted at Tombstone, that Austin wouldn't have gotten hurt in that match?
I think the likelihood would have been less than it was when.
And by the way, I get it. It's not ballet. Everyone gets hurt. Wrestlers get hurt all the time. They put their bodies on the line. Anything can happen anytime. I'm not debating that. What I am debating is Austin would go on record to say that Owen Hart never called, never apologized, and never tried to check on him at all. In fact, the Owen 316, I just broke your neck, wasn't even talked to Austin before it was put out, according to this, and then the autobiography, rather. Austin has since stated that his neck is in good shape, zero pain. The accident was a source of backstage conflict between the two men, but Austin ultimately forgave Hart, paid tribute to him on Raw as War after his death. Do you think that, now my next thing, why do you think Hart, being the nice guy that we always hear that he was, always ribbing, always the genuine nice guy, why do you think he never went out to apologize to Austin? Did you think it was just much ado about nothing, everybody gets hurt, it happens, or did he have animosity towards Austin?
I'm gonna answer that question, but first I gotta bring the comment up. My mom remembers the whole situation, remembers the pay-per-view, remembers the fact that we had the key
Ryan
right.
Would not have a balance on his student loan.
Yeah. It's hard to say. I don't know.
It's hard to say because one party is not here and it's not fair. I'm not debating.
I don't know.
Your opinion.
I don't know why there would be animosity. It's not like Owen Hart was mad that Stone Cold was getting over her and that he wasn't. It's if according to Owen Hart's family, especially later on this year when he would basically be left by himself in WWE, Owen was ready to call it quits and go home anyway. So I don't know if there's any animosity. Owen was very well known and well loved by everybody in the locker room. Mm-hmm. Just my guess, again, because we can't ask him. My guess is that because Owen was not notorious for hurting people.
Right.
He wasn't Seth Rollins trying to kill Sting and hurting Finn Balor. He wasn't known for hurting people. So I think if Owen Hart was still here and he and Stone Cold would be able to have that conversation, just my assumption, again, based on characterizations made by everybody around him, I think Owen would probably come out and say, you know what? I'd never hurt anybody before. And I didn't come to check on you out of pure guilt. I mean, he was around for another 2 years after this happened. So he had ample opportunity. But I think part of it was that he never hurt anybody like this, so he didn't know what to do. when it comes to find out that Stone Cold, that Steve Austin was going to be fine, that he was like, okay, well, it was a mistake. Mistakes happen. No big deal. No harm, no foul. But I think it's if Owen were still around, I think Owen would probably be one of his regrets, unless there was real animosity, a la Brett and Shawn. I think Owen would have regret and find remorse in the fact that, you know what, I should have reached out. It wasn't it was the right thing to do to have reached out, and I'm sorry that I didn't.
Let me tell you something. I've never dropped somebody's autographed hat on the dirt. But if I dropped your autographed hat on the dirt, I'd apologize to it. I'd apologize for it.
I'm not disagreeing with you. Like,
I know. I'm not.
It's a really crappy thing to do. Like, you could have ended his career and you don't reach out to apologize. Like, it's not a good look.
Just weird to me about, we always hear that Owen Hart's such a genuine guy, but like, why not even just say, I mean, even if it was a terrible ribbing, sorry, something.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's a rough situation. Stone Cold, again, would sort of lay on the mat, try to get feeling back in his hands and feet. As Owen walked around the ring, trying to get heat, he's telling everybody in the crowd, he's gonna kiss my ass, and then just this half-hearted roll up because they had to call the audible because Stone Cold wasn't going to be able to get up and hit the stunner. Stone Cold wins the Intercontinental Championship. More referees, Tim White, Earl Hebner, I forgot the other guy, comes out and helps him to the back. I remember watching this as a kid and telling my mom, like, something's not right. Like, Stone Cold is not the kind of guy who is going to get help to the back. This isn't his character. And even as this is 1997, I was 10 years old. Even as a 10-year-old kid, I knew something was wrong. So we get Austin going over. He's your new Intercontinental Champion. I want to also mention too, because of this injury, not only did he continue to have neck issues, but I remember he was written off TV in 99 Survivor Series to undergo neck surgery. That's what led to him to retire at only the age of 38 in 2003. I don't count the Kevin Owens match. He retired in 2003 at the age of 38, losing to The Rock at WrestleMania 19. He went out on his back. But this injury was really crucial to Austin's career. And I think that if he didn't have those neck issues, Austin would still be doing things now. You think he'd still be working?
I think he would be still working. Absolutely. And if not still working, doing something in pro wrestling, whether it's coaching, whether it's some sort of on-air thing. I mean, some of the most fun that he ever had was when he was the general manager of Raw and messing with Eric Bischoff and all that. I mean, I think that, and even that was giving him issues. So I still think he would do things.
Mama Frick coming in the comments. I think Owen really thought it was part of the game. Didn't really owe an apology. He thinks she thinks that he would apologize today. Had he realized it again?
And that just goes to show that if you think you did something wrong, you should apologize now because you don't know if you have tomorrow.
Ooh, man, trying to get all deep.
I'm just saying, if you have something to say it now because you don't know when you can say it. We're never promised tomorrow.
Well, we're also not promised people will listen more than an hour, and we've gone over the hour.
Well, let's talk about the main event, which was to me the match of the night. Match of the night right here to me. Of course, we talked about on the Go Home edition that HBK costed Bret Hart the match against the Patriot, but somehow still said that he would call the match right down the middle. And for the most part, he did till the very end. We have Bret Hart taking on The Undertaker, who's your World Heavyweight Champ or your WWF Champion. Shawn Michaels, your special guest referee. This match goes 28 minutes, and it is a phenomenal match.
You know what they did before the match started? Bret Hart asked everyone to stand and honor Canada with the singing of my second favorite national anthem in all the world. Canada. Geez. And the American fans were not having it. They booed and talked the entire thing.
I bet because there was one because those fans were like, "No, Canada's only my third favorite." No,
that's it. Like we're not in Canada. We're in America. Even in 1997, this is America. We don't sing "Oh Canada." Get out of here. You Canadian jerk.
You know how much the American national anthem is not good. It's so bad that Vince prefers doing "America the Beautiful" than the national anthem.
Well, you know what's crazy? The British national anthem, "God Save the Queen," was remade by someone who came to the States, and oh my gosh, what's the name? What's the American version of God Save the Queen, it's going to drive me absolutely nuts.
I don't know, but the Sex Pistols did a song called God Save the Queen, and it's probably better than that. But then Motorhead covered it, and it's better than the Sex Pistols version because Sex Pistols weren't good.
Well, nevertheless, let's move on from Canada. Let's go to the match. 28 minutes. PJ, tell us your thoughts about this match.
Phenomenal match, 5-star match. One of my favorite spots is my favorite spots of 1997 is when Hart has Taker in the sharpshooter, and Taker, using just his legs, kicks him out of the ring, and the camera gets a close-up on Hart where Hart can literally be saying, like, he can literally be saying what, like, he's so amazed that Taker was able to kick him out with just his legs. Great spot. Let's get to the finish here. So, of course, you're going to see HBK surprise, not call it, down the middle. But what a fantastic time. What a fantastic spot where you see Taker, Hart and Shawn going back and forth here. We finally get HBK having too much and hitting the Undertaker with the chair when he was trying to hit Bret Hart. Taker goes down, and Bret Hart makes the cover, and he looks Hart in the eyes as HBK counts 1, 2, 3. He gets out of the ring, knowing the repercussions of what he's just done. He is effed like 8 ways to Sunday. Like, he can just feel it that I've just messed up. Your new WWF champion, however, is Bret the Hitman Hart.
And what we haven't talked about is the fact that there was another weird stipulation tied to this match, that if Bret Hart didn't win this match and win the championship, he would not wrestle in the States again. And Shawn Michaels said that if he didn't call this match right down the middle, he would not wrestle in the States again. So it's sort of setting up. There's no way Bret Hart loses this match. And sure enough, he doesn't. But yeah, that chair shot where he smoked Taker and then he was forced to count the 3. It was fantastic. By the way, God Save the Queen was remade by someone who moved to the New World and called it My Country 'Tis of Thee. They are the exact same tune, just ripped off.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. So I want to talk, before we sign off here, we're going to talk about what we're going to talk about in part 6, which is the aftermath of SummerSlam. Guys, we're getting red hot here. We're going to start seeing a lot more promos between Hart and Michaels. We're going to start hearing the Sunny Day stuff. We're going to hear
my mom loves her some Bret Hart, by the way. She was a Bret Hart fan over Shawn Michaels.
Commie. Not kidding. No, I'm kidding. Actually, Bret Hart's the man. Michaels is pushed to the top heel of the company, getting negative fan reactions towards Hart, and the United States softened somewhat. Michael's going to declare, "I'm not so much an anti-American as I'm just Hart will say, "I'm not so much anti-American. I'm just very, very pro-Canada." He would have these promos where he would talk about, they have horrible values and Canada has better values. It's amazing to see. You're going to see the Patriot really get pushed up for some reason. You're going to see a lot of
he's the Patriot, man. Come on.
God.
Yeah, let's go.
Whatever. You're going to see a big feud between Canada and U.S. At Ground Zero. That's the next pay-per-view we're going to talk about. Going until July 28th Raw. Then we're going to get big stuff at Bad Blood, where we're going to talk about a lot of things there. Austin's injured. He's going to have to vacate his Intercontinental Champion. We'll talk about that. And then we'll talk about the rivalry that starts between Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, which will unfortunately culminate in a very horrible injury for Shawn Michaels. Can't wait to talk all about this and more. It's going to be fun stuff, man.
It's also hard to believe that we're in August. Yep. We're in August of 97. We get September, October. We get 3 more months of Bret Hart in the World Wrestling Federation, which is hard to believe looking back at this time frame and realizing that knowing what was coming in Montreal at Survivor Series of 1997. So a lot of fun stuff. PJ, I feel like we rushed some of it tonight, but
we covered a lot of stuff, and I think everyone had a really good time. I did. I don't care if they did. I did.
Yeah, listen, we had a good time, and if you didn't catch the live show, we'll be on all the podcast apps, be it Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify. PJ, thanks for all your insight. I really enjoyed watching back SummerSlam 1997. This is this is my favorite time of 1997. Was this pay-per-view? Considering two of the biggest events took place in Bret Hart winning the world title and Stone Cold Steve Austin winning the Intercontinental title, breaking his neck. so on and so forth. So, PJ.
I want to talk about how great the cover is too. You get like Bret Hart standing there, and then like the purple smoke with like Undertaker's face in there. Reminds me of something from like The Fog or something. I love it.
Well, that's great stuff, man. PJ, this has been another really fun episode. Make sure everybody tunes into, again, free plug for AEW. Not that anybody's going to listen to us. AEW All-In from Wembley Stadium this Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, from London, England. As far as we go, I'll be on the Cat Cave with co-host Michael Davis this Wednesday on Tobacco Road Sports Radio. Wednesday night, Baker Bill and I are going live. We are just over 2 weeks away from the start of the NFL season. Fantasy football drafts are taking place. A lot of fun stuff with football. We are in week 0 for college football. We are literally a week and a half come Wednesday from the start, the official start kickoff of college football season. Can't wait to get into that. And then again, PJ Stephen, Banker Bill and I are going to do a special crossover episode where we are going to introduce Banker Bill to some professional football players or college football players who decided to go into the world of professional wrestling. And we are going to live watch and react to a match. What pay-per-view was it? It was Slamboree 1998.
Slamboree 97. It will be the NWO, who's Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and Six Pac taking on Kevin Green, Roddy Piper, and Ric Flair. The reason we chose this match is because it's one of Kevin Green's best matches, which is not a lot to say. You know, he wasn't the best, but he was really, really entertaining, and the crowd loved him. We're live in Charlotte, North Carolina, Flair's hometown, coming back from a neck injury. It's the Legends versus the New School, and it's also, obviously Kevin Green played for the Carolina Panthers. So crowd goes wild. The crowd owns the match.
Yeah, a lot of fun stuff. If you're listening to the show, wherever it is, if there's anything you want to hear us cover before we record this episode, go to social media, Twitter @TapoutsandTDs, Facebook.com/TapoutsandTouchdowns, and let us know what you want us to talk to Banker Bill about. We got something for Volley Polly that we're going to bring up with him, so that's going to be exciting. But we've kept you long enough on this AEW All-In preview, the Edge's final match discussion, and the SummerSlam 1997 review as part of PJ Stevens' Time Machine. Come back for the Cat Cave later this week on Tobacco Road Sports Radio. Come back for the football show with Banker Bill and yours truly. And then come back next week for the next installment of PJ's Time Machine. For PJ Steven, it's your guy, Bully Rive. We'll see you next week right here on Tap Outs and Touchdowns.